How to increase breast milk. If you're struggling with this, you are not alone. Many moms go through nursing, and at some points they're doing great, and at some points they're really struggling to make sure that their baby's got enough milk. So here are some tips and tidbits to help you make sure that you've got enough milk for your delicious baby. Firstly, you want to make sure that your baby is nursing effectively. So make sure that it feels like pulling, not pinching. When your baby's nursing, it shouldn't feel like ow, pinching. It should feel like pulling, like they've got their mouth properly surrounded your breast so that they're properly, nursing so that it's working effectively. And now you have to make sure that you nurse your baby frequently. So the way it works is supply and demand. So if your baby is pulling more, is sucking more, is nursing more, then your body's going to recognize, oh, there's more demand, we better produce more. So that's in general how the flow works. So the more that your baby sucks, the more that your body recognizes that it needs to produce. Now, the problem is when you've got the baby who's not being regular right now. So for example, let's say maybe your baby is teething and they all of a sudden aren't eating so much. They're not nursing so much because it's hurting their gums and they're cranky and they don't want to nurse. So what you got to do is, instead of feeling gorged and feel painful, like, oh my gosh, I've got too much milk, you want to maybe pump it out. Use a good pump out that milk so that your body is still maintaining the same amount of milk that it's producing. You can take that milk and you can freeze it, put it in the freezer for a rainy day when maybe you don't have enough milk. So if you've got too much milk, make sure to pump it out so your body continues to produce that amount of milk. Another thing is maybe your baby's going through a growth spurt and they're eating more now than they used to. So at that point, you want to, make sure to nurse a good amount, let them suck extra so that your body gets used to how much your baby wants to nurse right now and how much they need. And eventually in the next day or two, it's going to start providing more supplies because there's more demand. Two products that I've used over the years to help me make sure that I've got enough milk. One is brewer's yeast. Brewer's yeast, yes, you can go get some beer if you really want, but you can really go get tablets of brewer's yeast, and somehow, like I've done it before, and you just pop some of these pills and it really helps produce some great milk, and I was actually very impressed with it. Another thing that a lot of people suggest is mother's milk tea. There's a kind of tea, it's actually called mother's milk. I'll leave a link in the, below. And you can go and buy this tea, drink it a couple times a day, and it's got all kinds of little herbal things that you can have to help increase your mother's milk. I've also used it, but I don't actually know how effective it was specifically because I always used it when I was, also using brewer's yeast. So between the two of those, they definitely help. The biggest tip of all, of everything I want to tell you, is taking care of yourself. This is going to sound so basic, but I have to tell you, I did not think of it myself. The first couple of times that, I was nursing, I really, especially with my first baby, I just didn't realize why my baby wasn't getting enough milk. I would wake up in the morning, nurse my baby, bring the baby to the babysitter, pump at work, come home, nurse my baby again, and continue nursing throughout the day. But I was running this tight schedule. I wasn't feeding myself enough. I was hungry by the end of the day. And when I went to nurse my baby in the evening, there just wasn't enough milk. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Why was the baby unhappy? I just nursed the baby. And you don't always recognize when you're nursing how much your baby is actually eating. When you've got a bottle and you can sit there and measure it, oh, it was 3 ounces, 5 ounces, 6 ounces, you actually know how much your baby ate. But when you're nursing, you can't always tell all the time. It has to be basically on how much, milk you see them running out the sides and how much they're satisfied and how much they just feel like they haven't had enough or how many letdowns you have. So you've got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that you're eating properly, 3 balanced meals throughout the day, that you're drinking a lot. You need to drink a lot, and that you have enough sleep. You're taking rest, you're taking naps, you're sleeping at night. Because if you aren't taking care of yourself, guess what? There won't be any milk, because milk is produced from what you eat and drink, and your body needs to be well rested in order to produce it. So I have to say that the biggest tip of everything that I've said is to make sure that you are eating and drinking enough and taking rests so that your body will produce the milk that it needs in order to feed your baby, nurse your baby with plenty, ample, delicious, thick milk, whole milk, so your baby will have all the nutrients that it needs. If you have been struggling with this and you've seen what works and what doesn't work, please leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear for the benefit of everybody.